What if every coin you earned came with a curse? That's the question people whispered whenever they passed by the ruins of Rafiq's old shop, a once bustling store at the heart of a vibrant village. But no one dares to say his name too loudly anymore. Years ago, in the middle of that same village, Rafiq was known as the best and the most cunning shopkeeper in the region. His shop had everything: spices from distant lands, shiny trinkets, sweets for children, and colorful fabrics. But it wasn't the variety that brought him wealth. It was his greed. Rafiq had a special scale, one that he secretly rigged. He would tilt it just slightly when weighing goods, so customers always got a little less than they paid for. "Just a grain or two," he'd say, with a sly grin if ever questioned. The scale has a mind of its own. But the scale didn't lie to him. It lied for him. Poor villagers often walked away thinking they'd gotten a fair deal, never realizing they were slowly being robbed. Day by day, coin by coin, Rafiq's coffers grew fat, while others went home with less flour, less rice, less hope. Despite his wealth, Rafiq never helped the needy. If a starving widow came begging, he'd scoff, "I'm not running a charity." If children stared longingly at his sweets, he'd wave them off. "Come back when you can pay." The villagers began to resent him, but they needed his shop. He had everything. And so, they swallowed their pride and kept coming back. One day, during a sweltering afternoon, a hunched old man appeared outside Rafiq's shop. His clothes were torn, his feet bare, and his beard long and white like twisted vines. He held out a single shimmering silver coin and whispered, "Just a handful of grain, shopkeeper. That's all I ask." Rafiq eyed the coin greedily. It sparkled strangely in the sunlight, as if it had been dipped in starlight, but his heart had long forgotten kindness. "One handful?" Rafiq smirked. "Fine, let's weigh it." He placed the grain on his magical scale and, as always, tilted it in his favor. "This coin barely covers this much," he lied, handing over only a few kernels of grain. The old man didn't argue. He took the grain with a quiet nod and turned to leave. But just before disappearing around the corner, he looked back and said, "A heart that steals, even by a grain, will one day be buried under the weight of its lies." Rafiq scoffed. "Old fools and their riddles." That night, strange things began to happen. When he opened his shop the next morning, he found his scale changed. The golden needles spun wildly, the plates trembled at the lightest touch. But what alarmed him most, no matter how much he weighed, everything came up short. He placed a full bag of rice on the scale. The weight read only half. He tried adjusting it, even replacing it. Nothing worked. Angry, he accused his supplier of cheating him. But the customers, who once silently accepted being robbed, were now watching closely. They noticed, they compared, and they began to whisper. Then the real horror began. Rafiq reached into his coin box to count his earnings. But as his fingers touched the shimmering silver coin from the old man, his hand burned. He dropped it with a cry, only to see it melt into a dark, sticky black stain that spread across his entire cash box. His coins turned cold, then sticky, then rotten. Yes, rotten, as if they had decayed like fruit. Rafiq panicked. He rushed out into the village square, screaming, "A curse! I've been cursed!" But no one helped him, because Rafiq had never helped them. After the day the silver coin melted, Rafiq's world began to unravel. Each morning, he found something new had gone wrong. The sweets in his jars turned to dust. The cloth in his shop tore without cause. The spices lost their aroma. Even the vibrant dyes turned to dull gray overnight. Worse still, the villagers began to speak openly. That's the same man who shorted my flour last winter. He once sold me rotten dates, swore they were fresh. My child got sick eating his sweets. Their anger boiled. Their footsteps avoided his shop. Children threw stones at his door when no one was looking. But Rafiq, in his arrogance, refused to believe it was his fault. "It's the old man," he roared in frustration. "He cursed me. This is sorcery, not my doing." Desperate, he began offering discounts, then gifts, but no one trusted him anymore. One night, unable to sleep, Rafiq sat alone in his dark shop, surrounded by silence. He lit a candle, staring into the dancing flame. His shelves were bare, his purse was empty. For the first time in his life, he was truly alone. Then, a soft voice echoed from the shadows. "You weigh the world with lies, and now it weighs you down." Rafiq turned sharply. There, standing just outside his broken shop, was the old man, his cloak now glowing faintly in the moonlight, his eyes calm but piercing. Rafiq stumbled forward. "Please, take it back. The curse. I'll give you anything." The old man shook his head. "A curse, Rafiq, is not something I gave you. You forged it yourself, with every grain you stole, with every child you turned away." The coin was only the mirror. Rafiq fell to his knees. "I was wrong. I know that now. But I'm ruined. What should I do?" The old man's expression softened. "You must weigh something greater than gold now, your own heart." With that, he vanished into the night wind, leaving behind a single item at the shop's entrance. It was Rafiq's scale. But now, the plates were balanced, the needle calm. He reached for it, trembling. He set it on the counter. The next morning, the villagers found Rafiq standing in front of his shop, giving away what little food he had left. He no longer shouted, no longer lied. When someone asked for a price, he simply said, "Take what you need." Days passed, then weeks. Children returned first, drawn by the sweets Rafiq now gave freely. Then the elders, hesitant but curious. Then the mothers, cautious but tired of walking to far villages. Rafiq didn't make much, but this time, his scale was honest, his words were kind, his smile was real. Years later, a traveler came to the village and asked an old man about the strange shop at the end of the square. The old man smiled and said, "That's Rafiq's place. He once lost everything to greed and found everything through honesty." The traveler nodded and walked away. And for just a moment, the silver coin glimmered once more, quietly resting behind the counter. Morale: greed may fill your pockets for a time, but it empties your soul forever. Only kindness weighs true on the scale of life.